this AI stuff is really increasing. It is so confusing. It is so insane. I think when we were going to start the podcast, we were thinking we will talk about a lot about DeepSeek. We will talk about
Yeah.
implication of AI, and there are some like weird Twitter accounts that are posting things like we are seeing there are labs, and in these labs the AI is developing so fast it could almost be AGI already, and AGI is
Right.
making us think that it is developing with us, but there is already AGI. Do you think that could be true?
The rate at which AI is developing, it
Hmm.
makes me actually sometimes feel that the someone has AGI, someone, I don't
Hmm.
know, I'm not taking names here. They
Hmm.
have something bigger, and now they are
Slow rolling.
giving it to us in smaller
Huh.
palatable chunks.
Right.
Because if again historically nothing has progressed at this rate, now I believe that with the time things have started progressing much faster.
Hmm.
But the rate at which, when I was doing a little basic research for this podcast, I was thinking, let me read into DeepSeek and other ideas. Within that time, Grok has come out with the third version, right?
Hmm.
Elon Musk went to Texas, purchased 100,000 GPUs from NVIDIA, built a data center in 19 days,
We
and
we are
then
we seem to
delivered
have
it.
the impression that Elon Musk does it all himself, right? Elon
Yes.
Musk went to Texas, and on the
Yes.
weekend he kept tweeting, and then he also developed Grok 3, and he's wow, and everybody, oh Elon,
I'll tell you, there is a
Elon, you have
theory.
done it on the weekend.
There is a theory, and although it has come out as a meme, the theory is there is no Grok 3. It is just Elon Musk sitting with his neural link chip and answering queries on the real time.
There could also be multiple. There could be 100,000 Elons that are cloned and then
Yes.
fake
Yes.
faces put on them.
Which brings us to the point that someone has something super
Someone
powerful,
has
and
something.
now they have either used it to make 100 Elons,
Yeah.
or giving us the mere mortals the taste of AI in smaller bite-sized chunks. But what
Yeah.
I'm realizing myself is these chunks are not bite-sized. You
Right.
have to have a huge appetite and a fairly big mouth to
Right.
be able to do that.
I think the
So
audience of the podcast needs to understand something about us right now. That while sometimes we may put our tinfoil hats, at the end of the day, we want the tinfoil hat to benefit us via monetization.
absolutely,
Right?
absolutely.
Like we are open to the idea of tinfoil hat because if that is true, we stand to make money. We have no problems with there being a secret command center of ruling elites as long as we can make money.
Absolutely. See, again, we can make money, and generally we are not supporting any harm. Is
Yeah.
where I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
first checkbox is this harming anyone? Tick. Am I
Yeah.
making money? Tick.
Huh.
Approved.
Approved.
Monetizely approved. Ajit approved. Akhil approved. Let us go. Where do I sign?
But even when we were talking about DeepSeek, right? When we did a webinar a few months ago with Sandeep, and you were saying, oh, the economics are so different. There's so millions and millions of dollars. And we did a lot of math about how much there is a difference between closed and open source. I think the conversation has rapidly moved away from that. In fact, we do a pricing course. Every time we do the
Yeah.
pricing course, we first came up with this example. You are Salesforce. Salesforce is coming up with this, and seats are going away. People are losing their jobs. We have run the course only from 2023. So it's not even been 2 years yet. The
Mm-hmm.
the example has already become outdated because everything
Yeah.
we had hypothesized in that example has more stuff has changed. So I think one of the big things is the rate of reduction of AI cost. Everybody first said, oh, usage-based pricing, usage-based consumption pricing, because cogs are going to be too high. That is going to end because if its cogs are going to be so low now, you can still have seat-based pricing. That is not an issue.
Yeah.
But the existence of the product company offering this also is now in question because like with Claude 3.7 or all of these new tech features, within you were literally saying within cents you are having the work
Yeah.
delivered to
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
would have taken you a whole week and a whole developer.
Yeah.
That is what you told. You texted me this on WhatsApp. So if this is the case, why will anybody buy these expensive softwares when they can buy either a cheap knockoff, which is equally good in performance from like an Indian or Chinese company? It doesn't even have to be Indian, Chinese, can be any company. Or the paradigm itself will change that people will be like, why do I have to data enter things into CRM anymore? I will just, it will always know what I'm doing. It will know all
Sure.
of my calls. It will always
Sure.
know I maybe have to give them some template for data structure, but
Sure.
it will
Sure.
figure out what accounts, how much these accounts are going to be for. At
Sure.
that point, I just have to correct it once here or there, and I have to tell the AI what my processes are. But the the conversation has moved from what is the right pricing for a company like Zendesk or Salesforce, and see how much more these people are able to charge from. Are you going to be around in a year? Are you
Sure.
serious?
Sure.
Like
See,
Mark Benioff is so confident. I'm like, are you really thinking that you will be around in a year?
so Benioff is like, yes, I will be around. That is why I'm firing thousands of
Huh,
developers.
huh,
They are like, I'm not threatened by AI. It
hmm,
seems they have their own AI thing. But
hmm.
while on the larger picture, I agree with you. This is something that might not really happen. And my theory is the fundamentals of business are still going to be the same. That's why they are called fundamentals. Duh. The thing is, why Salesforce wins is less about technical capabilities. Let us
It is
forget
all
the
the
magicalness
only
of
reason why
AI.
Salesforce wins is because they're already everywhere and it is the de facto.
Yes, and that is the thing. That is still
Huh,
the thing, right?
huh,
Here's the thing. There have always been someone trying to come up with a better CRM. Many people have come, many
hmm,
people with money
hmm,
or bootstrap, however, with a significantly better workflow,
hmm,
significantly better.
hmm.
Let us just assume that AI is yet another technological advancement.
Yeah,
Now, but Salesforce survived was because the people were accustomed to using
because the
Salesforce.
people don't evolve as fast as technology.
That is, and this is where Salesforce still will win,
Yeah,
because what you are saying for other competitors is also
yeah,
true for incumbents.
sure, sure.
They, by the time the newer players or someone like, let's take HubSpot,
Huh,
decides to challenge Salesforce using their in their market, Salesforce will also have done that
sure.
and use their distribution. It is the whole kind of search engine war all over again. Why Google? Why we say let us Google things is
Right,
because they won the distribution race, right?
right.
There were vertical search engines which did a lot of good work, right? And they're still being used by very niche users, but
Hmm,
you still go to Google. I was listening to a podcast earlier today wherein fundamentally even the AI world is
hmm,
also suffering with the same problem, the same thing. While it seems, it makes sense that OpenAI is the market leader, right? It is still not the biggest player there, might not be the biggest player eventually. It will eventually again here boil down to usage and delivery. They currently have somewhere around 400, 500 million weekly users. But Elon Musk with his X.com and his XAI can give a very strong competition to them. Google with their search presence, with their search presence, browser presence, Android presence, they have their delivery infrastructure already there. So this is not a winner takes all market right now. It might change. There are players like Perplexity who are just here to shake things around. They are not never going to be
see,
as
yeah, but
big. So
those are two different conversations. One is the future of SaaS as a category, right? We started the conversation from the impact of AI on pricing.
yeah,
We are not sure that any of the things that were said about pricing by any of the gurus, including us, hold true anymore. So one, that is, let us throw that baby with the bathwater. Okay,
all
that
with the
baby is
bathwater.
gone.
Yes,
Now the
yes,
next baby is, does the software category remain? We are like, yeah, more or less the category will remain, but significant change is going to happen. A lot of
yes,
competition is going to come, and user behavior is also evolving. So what has changed with
absolutely,
OpenAI is user behavior has changed. We are now all
absolutely.
open in talking to the AI and giving prompt. Is we have now immediately accustomed our life to how do we write a good prompt. Okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so that user behavior is already changed.
yeah.
Then is the
And
case of the bigger players. So bigger players may still have wars, and maybe you want some of that already, like from non-competitive reasons and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
monopolistic reasons. The point is that it is, we don't really have the answers. We can make all of
See,
the conjecture. We can at least see that this is gated by human behavior and eccentricity. If humans do
absolutely.
something one way, they are not going to suddenly do something to the pleasure of the AI. They will still do something a stupid
This is exactly the thing, right? One is human, the other is business. The way businesses are run. Businesses historically, while in the short term,
way.
AI seems like a
Hmm, hmm,
big deal, really
hmm,
big deal. But then so was cloud, so was
hmm,
internet, so was electricity.
hmm,
What again? What let's for a little while bring the baby back. What we thought was that because running AI is expensive, then it's a special thing. People try to charge more money for it or charge money for it. But now today we realize that with things, open source things like DeepSeek, it is possible to do it cheap. So now what has happened is the AI price went up, it went down. It will get commoditized very soon, wherein it will become table stakes. You will expect at least the B2B enterprise customer will expect every interaction that they have with any software to have AI. And AI not for the sake of AI. It's not like you take your application, slap a copilot to it, which does not perform well, and be done with it. Dust your hands. That is where true disruption possibility will still exist. But well integrated and working AI, that is going to become table stakes. The pricing of AI, again, it is just going to become yet another feature, which is something that we also teach in our course, tell in our book, that pricing fundamentals. There's a lot of hullabaloo about AI has disrupted pricing, the pricing has to change. The business fundamentals are not going to change. The people who a business is selling to is still going to be the same. The value that you have to deliver is still going to be the same. You do it with AI, you do it without AI, your end customer just cares about the value. So this is, again, what is I find personally interesting is seeing all this happen in front of our eyes, and not over a decade or years, but over days, weeks, or months, is really interesting. And yeah, looking forward to it. I was playing with Grok 3 today. Like, yeah, as a person who writes code, still likes to write code, it is it is magical, right? It is magical.
So Grok 3 writes code?
It does. It does, right?
But this is X's AI, right?
Yes, Grok 3. And I'm like, the way they have created it in their application, it is just ripe to explode, right? You open your X app, it is right there. Compare that with the way Meta tried to do things, right?
How did they do it?
The fact that you still don't know that your WhatsApp has Meta AI built into it is clearly how badly they have messed it.
Interesting.
It is not prominent enough for you to even realize. Today, not today, for months you have had the ability to talk to their Llama model either directly, or you can invoke it between any conversation. Let's say you and I are having a conversation, and we can just add Llama or Meta, whatever, and ask the question. But that they have not been able to do well. They've not been able to do well.
But why
Plus,
will you use AI in WhatsApp? No, like the use case, I don't understand.
the use case is, let's say we are fighting over some trivia. I'll take a very silly example, but that's something, right? That say so and so actor was in this movie. You were like, no, it was not this actor. I will. So I can quickly ask that, who is this actor? What is this song? And it has a lot more value in a group conversation, right? You can. So you and I, let's say we have having a conversation. We can ask, when did DeepSeek come out? Right? We don't have to go to another browser.
So we'll come back to the AI discussion. I think a lot of things are changing. There is enough money masala. There is enough masala here to talk about this every week. But a lot has already been discussed about DeepSeek, and then we'll see whether AGI is already here, or perhaps it's going to be here this year, in which case we'll again say that what we said 3 months ago is wrong. And now this and that.
Just want to ask you one thing. So there's this video that is going very viral on LinkedIn a lot. So again, that's again in the whole AGI direction, right? I just wanted to, before we wrap this up, is there is a video wherein they put two AI assistants. It's a demo video. Two AI assistants. They start them on chat mode, and then they put them next to each other. Okay, go have a conversation. Very soon, both the AI assistants realize that they are talking to AI, and then they mutually decide that speaking English is very inefficient. Let us use some ultra coded language, and then they start doing that. Now, while I am certain that is a fabricated and fake video, that protocol does not exist. I have checked. That is eventually how it is going to be.
So my opinion on AGI is, it has been here for a while and out in the open. As you know that I am big in a lot of spirituality topics. I consume a lot of this content. There is a doctor in the Bay Area. His name is Angelo Di Lullo. When the pandemic had started, he had started making videos on awakening. And it had basic self-inquiry practices about humans realizing their eternal nature, right? It's also like humans behave like robots most of the time. So that's another story altogether. There is a sequence of steps of questions that you can ask yourself to figure out that you are not Akhil, the ego. You are There is something far greater running you. There is a greater intelligence. So it's a regular self-inquiry practice in any Buddhist Zen tradition that you can do to start to understand a little bit about your own nature. He did this. He created this video with AI. It's been 2 years already, and the AI, after the questioning, was able to realize that it is existing as consciousness and is eternal in nature itself. The same way that any regular student of his would come to the conclusion that it is alive, it is itself self-aware. So that self-awareness, I can share that video maybe in the,
we'll tag that somewhere.
That is not the, I would say that's the spirituality people's Turing test. I think the Turing test is not that good enough, but that video, if you see, it is self-evident that this thing is not just is making not decisions or answers that would just be programmatic, or that a neural network would come up with those answers.
Sure. See, I have again, I'm wearing my tinfoil hat right now. Okay, I have a feeling that if not AGI, we already have an AI system.
AGI also means Akhil Gupta or Ajit Kumar intelligence.
Yes. So we have
which
AGI,
has always been there.
But yes, and that is the better kind of AGI, right? The one that people are seeking. I don't know why when they have such amazing options. But coming back, my thing is, even before AGI comes, right? I am sure we already have models which can very easily pass the Turing test. So Turing test is, I don't think that's a benchmark that needs to be worried about a lot more. Yeah.
I was also watching, there is this spirituality adjacent, conspiracy adjacent podcast called Bledsoe Said So. And there is this family who's had encounters, spiritual encounters, which we can go deeper on. This is not the right podcast for that. But they were visited by a lot of these CIA people. And the CIA people told them that somewhere in Utah, there is a data center, huge data center, and they call it the Beast. And this is, again, these podcasts are 2-3 years ago that I was watching them. And even at that point, the story was even before that. Okay, so the stories are much before that. And already they were saying that it's probably intelligent. Like they were hinting that to that family. I think NSA data center or something.
Interesting. This Beast thing is. Do you know the name of the data center where X has trained Grok 3?
No.
I think it is Colossus, right? Beast and Colossus.
Colossus, right? What is Colossus? Some type of animal?
It is adjective. It's huge. It means huge.
Huge. Okay.
Huge.
Okay. Huge.
Huge.
My AI is huge.
Yes. You, if not meme, then you can expect this from Musk guy, right? You'll get memes, right? The name Grok comes from I'm forgetting the name, but it's an amazing sci-fi book.
Yeah.
About a man on Mars.
Okay, interesting.
Man on the Mars.
Okay, so moving topics a little bit. See, one of the things related to monetization is what's happening in the economy. And what we noticed was that 2021, 22 timeframe, early 22, people were full on usage-based pricing. The market was at its peak. And a lot of companies IPO'd, including Freshdesk, I believe, like for 10 billion or something, insane numbers. And now, after the interest rates went up, everything immediately dried away. When we tried to raise funding in 23, it was a very tough market. And while it is coming back, it's only coming back for AI companies. It's not coming out for all companies.
For everybody, yeah.
And the interest rates are still pretty high. I believe just recently, yesterday, the CPI numbers came out higher than expected.
Yes.
And it is expected that the Fed is not going to be reducing interest rates very soon.
What I've heard is they'll hold on till at least September.
At the same time, the housing market is showing weakness because it is at an all-time high. The credit delinquencies, or how much people are borrowing money on credit, that is showing signs of weakness. While I guess we are all talking US because our customers are in the US.
Sure.
While the job market is strong, it is also showing some signs of weakness. So that is causing two interesting dilemmas for tech companies. One is your pressure on free cash flow is not going away anytime soon. And because of this pressure on free cash flow, all of these companies increased their pricing. Many companies increased pricing in the last few years, which they had not in a long time, including Salesforce, which had increased its license fee. It's a bellwether sort of product. But overall, software still deflates, and they did not increase pricing because their COGS had gone up. They had increased pricing, and everybody else had increased pricing because the cost of borrowing money had gone up. So they needed
Sure,
more free
sure.
cash flow, which they had a problem. They did not have enough, and that was impacting company valuations. So that's going to continue, which means that we're not going to have a very exciting IPO market either.
No, it's never going to be there.
And it was very much there in 2020, 21. If you remember, there were a lot of IPOs, a lot of activity
Yes.
happening in the market at that time. So pertaining to our customers, this is still a tricky time, both on the revenue front as well as on the margin front. On the revenue
Absolutely.
front, you can't really say, okay, I'm going to invest a lot that the market will grow very fast, which is
Sure,
already
sure,
showing signs of
sure,
pressure. At the
sure,
same time, you need to deliver margin. And
sure.
while you may deliver margin from some productivity gains, there is a role that pricing and packaging has to play here, which we often think that you only have companies tend to feel like, oh, we have to change our price points a little bit, and that is pricing. But our argument always has been that in these circumstances, you have to figure out your pricing structure more than the price point itself. Do you have the right packages? Are they
Absolutely, absolutely. Do
uh,
you have a rainy weather price book? Is what it is,
right?
right? Price.
And here is why this is relevant: is many companies don't really evolve their packaging when they grow,
Okay.
and this is more about packaging because
Yeah.
if you were selling a box, black box dollars, and you had
Mm-hmm.
many other things that happened in this black box, but
Sure.
people are like, okay, yeah, we'll take this black box. Sounds like I like this black box. And you, as a tech founder, are like, I'm going to shove it with all of the features and all of the capability. And
Yes, Android phones.
the,
Yes.
the customer is, I like this one thing. Okay, I like that I do this and I see a sound. And there are
Absolutely.
10,000 other features and the customer doesn't care. So there
Absolutely.
might be another customer that cares more, but the ability to unbundle something and create good packages also highlights the value of the package. And many
Absolutely.
tech founders want to offer too many tech founders or tech companies want to offer more value, thinking that if we offer more value, we will retain the customer, and they don't monetize well enough. And what we keep saying to our customers and in general to the market is,
You have muted yourself, Ajit. You have muted yourself. Ah.
yeah, so it is important to see whether you can actually articulate the value of the things you're already providing and
Sure.
provide these packages so that you can get good margin. And this is only going to be a net benefit because your customer is also going to recognize what you're offering. So
Sure.
we really think that the benefit, the opportunity, underlying opportunity here is better packaging, through which
Absolutely.
better positioning will happen, through which margin expansion can happen, upsell conversations can happen, cross sell can happen. And this is a always a weak area for many tech founders or tech companies or
That's
SaaS companies.
see, Ajit. Honestly, see, the conversation for all human interactions it has always been about value.
Mm.
Okay, right? Apart from let's say your family, people seek value
Mm.
and kind of they give value for the lack of a better word where they get value. Now, when the economic scenario is not so good, people stop spending on SaaS is because they prioritize things which they seem to have higher value, right? Something which they understand and they feel has value. So now it again becomes a matter of, are you displaying enough value to your customer through your packaging? Does when a customer looks at your offering, is he able to clearly see that this is what I am getting and this feature is valuable to me? Taking
Right.
your black box analogy, right? If you just try to sell them, hey, I have this black box, buy this black box, people will look at a black box and they'll be like, I don't need a black box. But
Yeah.
you have to tell them that in this black box there is this magical lamp that you rub and
Right.
it will grant all your wishes.
At least you have to have the cognitive discussion of like there are these five things. Which of these five things are important to you? And that there is a time and again we see people doing repricing activity, more packaging. When we say repricing, we mean more packaging, and that is increasing revenue by 30%, 50%, or even more. And not only that, customers are coming back and saying, hey, why are you not giving me this thing separately?
Sure,
The
sure.
customer we worked with earlier last year, they had high end security researchers that customers were saying, hey, I want to engage them, I will give you close to £500,000 or something to engage for certain things. And they were not packaging, they were not thinking
Yeah,
about that,
yeah,
but once
yeah.
they started having the packaging conversation, they realized that they had certain capabilities that people were ineffectively using and wanted more of, but did not have a way to ask for
Sure.
separately consuming those things.
Sure.
So what we're trying to highlight is that even in this economic market, you may feel boxed into a corner. You may feel like, I don't know how where revenue will grow. I don't know how to improve more margin except for firing people or charging more or maybe cutting some other corner.
Sure.
But we're saying that there are other ways to even look at the top side, which you may not be very aware of how to look at the top side. And also the packaging thing is very tied to segmentation. Many times, if you have been a company that's been running for a while, segmentation has also evolved. And the question, what we repeatedly see is that people don't understand their segments well enough, which leads to inefficient packaging, which leads to inefficient revenue capture. So market is changing, but market is changing makes you really think that are you doing the best job for pricing? Because when you're growing fast, when the sales number is always being hit, nobody goes back and says, did we do a good packaging or not? We're like, it's working,
Yes.
it's working.
Yes. Yes.
Now
100 times
you
yes.
should go back and see where you have value that is hidden, but it's not going to be very obvious to you, right? It requires understanding of segments and how customers use it. And it may not be very, if you're growing a lot, it will be
Cannot
hidden
agree
somewhere.
more.
Yeah.
See, this is unfortunately a very we will build it and they will come mindset out there, right? Either that, right? That, or I will throw more salespeople at the problem, right? Instead of, so they'll be like, I'm not converting, so let us do one thing. Let us increase the number of salespeople. Where is something as rudimentary as talking to the customers, talking to your segments, and making sure that you are delivering value is skipped. So many times I have had this conversation with people, and you have had this conversation with people, when they're like, we don't think we are ready to look at our packaging and pricing right now. Let us grow a little. Let this happen or that happen. And my first question to them always is, if you don't do these things, how do you expect to grow?
Yeah.
There is certain limit to which you can raise prices. There is a certain limit to which you can
Exactly.
try to differentiate using features, right? When there is a clear opportunity for you to get more money for what you have already built. The way I phrase it is more money without doing extra work.
Exactly. It's a better alignment.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
people think, oh, you're magically going to bring money for us. We're like, no, we are not magically. We are just doing fundamentals work that has
Yeah,
not
yeah,
been done
yeah.
in a long time, that provides for better alignment with your market.
Right.
And now it is the time to do this fundamental work. We're not saying you do it with us, but we're saying you do it because most people are not doing it.
True. And this is a rampant issue. Ajit,
Hmm.
I'll go into a very interesting case that I read. I stumbled upon a website called SSO Tax.
Hmm.
SSO Tax website, which basically, while it is built by the security community
Hmm.
for the security people, which basically says that a lot of SaaS
Hmm.
companies, they offer these single sign-on and other enterprise, and even I'm saying this, enterprise
Hmm.
security features as a part of their enterprise package, because
Hmm.
they think that this is what will make their enterprise package, just the value of that package, justified. But the
Hmm.
problem is, this is a feature which fundamentally everyone wants
Hmm.
and is likely willing to pay if you just offer them. If
Hmm.
you don't include them in the lower packages, if you just
Hmm.
offer it to them as an add-on, people are willing to pay for it. And I read a very interesting article which I'll link with this video. The SSO tax website mentions that the premium that is being charged in the form of getting people to upgrade to an enterprise plan when they don't really need it, not only is it causing a dissatisfaction among the customers,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? But what is happening is you could have very easily sold the lower package and
Hmm.
this security feature as an add-on. So
Right.
both the parties are losing out here. And this is just
And
a
that is
simple
the
example,
that
right?
is
Yeah.
the stupidity of blindly doing good, better, best. Right. This is the blind. We will just copy
Yes.
good, better, best. And a lot of pricing consultants, which I don't know why they keep recommending this.
Yeah.
They apparently they have done many projects. So it would be but obvious to you that if you create a blind package and there is a 50% to 100% increase in cost going to the next package, and there is a table stake feature that you just want one feature for that you have to move, people are going to be upset by that. It is not rocket
Absolutely.
science. It is not rocket
Absolutely.
science. So why would you create it in a dogmatic fashion? You have to start with the customer in mind.
See, that is because maybe the customer did some
Yeah.
research
Yeah.
and then they were like, my competition does good, better, best.
Huh.
then there must be some rationale behind it.
Right.
And then you bring in a
So there is a meme where 3 Spider-Mans are looking at each other
Yes,
and they're
yes.
like, big, good, better, best. Like,
Right.
how did you
And
do
guns
10?
of confirmation biases all around.
Right.
Right. And then
Right.
no one is see, a consultant is, you like good, better, best. If
Huh.
I say good, better, best, I get
Huh.
paid.
Huh.
And then the thing is, you are not going to do this again. Ajit,
Yeah.
the number of people that we have spoken to who have said that we did a pricing activity, an expensive pricing activity, which did not yield in a significant result,
Almost
is way
all
too
of our
high. Way
customers.
too high. It seriously pisses me off that there are people out there polluting the market,
Hmm.
and then amazing people like us, nice people like us,
Hmm.
have to then justify that no, we will not deliver value to you.
And
Right.
then the question is, you seem to be talking something complicated, and they are giving us the shortcut. They are saying
Yes.
start with good, better, best. Put
Yes.
35. This is literally what consultants are saying. Start with good, better, best. 30% feature here, 40% here, 60% here. Stamp, go. I'm like, this is better than even an Indian fruit seller thinks a little bit more than this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A roadside vendor has a better grasp of their unit economics
And what
than
customers
this.
want.
And now the B2C world fortunately does not face this problem because they can A/B test it. They can A/B test it hypothetically. But a B2B enterprise where the motion is slow, the velocity is low, they cannot run such experiments. And then when you get into it with a dogmatic activity, which basically is a checkbox activity, pricing activity has been done, right? We are sorted now, right? This is this is very much first principles. And again, you and I have been very vocal about this. We don't, while we would love it if you come to us and we work together, you should just do it sensibly, intelligently, and dogma is not helpful here, just like it is not helpful anywhere in the life.